Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Friday, October 24th edition of Adamanswers. I'm Adam and I answer things, or at least I try to, I should say. Uh, if this is your first time here at the show, thank you so much for joining me today. This is, I want to say, maybe the third episode in a row that I've done it on a Friday. I think that is going to become a consistent rhythm. There's a little fruit fly there. This is going to be a little consistent rhythm. I know that I've said that before, but I do think Friday works for my schedule right now. Around this time, it works for my schedule. Again, that might change to something more optimal in the future. I don't know. If there's a time, if you listen or watch the show regularly and you're interested in watching it live and interacting in the chat, let me know if there's a time for you that would work better than the time that I'm currently doing the show. So like I said, this is Adam Answers Anything. It's Friday, October 24th. I believe this is our 16th episode. So welcome. So glad and blessed to have you here. Two quick announcements, as usual, before we jump into the topic of today. The first thing I want to say is this. Even though Adam answers, it doesn't mean Adam knows. So the show is about me wrestling with difficult questions, covering difficult topics and conversations, the best that I can. I don't know everything, and so this show is called Adam Answers Anything, not Adam Knows Everything. And so I also named the show thus because I like alliteration. So Adam answers absolutely anything at all. Like, anyway. See, there's another A. Two quick announcements before I dive in. One, if you have a question, if you're watching the show, listening to the show, and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna ask a question, right? It's just some random guy sitting here, some random white dude with long hair and a yellow shirt, and he's just sitting here answering questions. I'm just gonna answer a question. Why not, right? Just go for it. Why not? Go ahead. There's a QR code over there on the top of the screen. Scan the QR code. It's going to bring you to a document, and you can ask any question that you want. Any question that you want. And I will do my best to answer the question to the best of your satisfaction. There's also a spot in the form where you can opt in to be on the show, which I would love for you to be on the show, to actually have a conversation around your question or topic together. So if that sounds like an interesting idea to you, if you're not camera shy, if you are, I'd still encourage you to scan the QR code, put in the information, and I would love to connect with you. If you have a perspective, or maybe just a small point, maybe just one point, maybe you're like, I kind of want to just make one quick clarification on something you said or something like that, one quick correction, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Leave a message in the chat. If you're watching this live, I'd love to hear what you have to say. I listen to myself talk a lot. I'm just here talking. I'm literally like right in front of me, right? Because there's like the camera right there. Right in front of me is literally just the live stream. And so, and I put it there so I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to a person. In reality, I'm just talking to myself. But it's just there symbolically, so it feels like I'm actually talking to somebody. So I talk a lot, but I would love to hear you talk more than I would love to hear myself continue to talk. And so don't be afraid to leave a comment in the comment section or a note in the chat. Please reach out. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I would love to have you on the show. So those are the bullet points that we cover pretty much every single show. It is October 24th. I know I've said that 3 times, but I'm saying that again because it is getting close to the end of October, which means we're getting close to the day of Halloween, aka also Reformation Day. But Halloween, October 31st, which I believe is a week from today. I can't do math. Yes. So stay tuned for next Friday. We're going to have a good episode, and I'm going to be talking about some things, some personal experiences, and also some conversations around the idea of not necessarily Halloween specifically, but around the idea of sort of scary things in general. So if that interests you, stay tuned or tune in next week on Friday as we cover that in episode 17. But today we're going to be tackling a question. Well, I should say this. It's not really a question as much as it is just a kind of a conversation. The last episode was a little different. Last episode we talked about in a specific way we talked about AI. And so it was a little different than what we were used to. And this week's episode is also going to be slightly different. So for the past 2 weeks, I'm kind of going into cultural conversations, and these are mostly conversations that have really been fresh in my mind and fresh on my heart. So that's the reason why I wanted to do these episodes back to back. But I want to hear from you something. If you enjoy the philosophical conversations a lot more than the cultural conversations, let me know that down below. And likewise, if you enjoy the cultural conversations more than you enjoy the philosophical conversations, again, hit the subscribe button and let me know down below, because I would love to hear what you have to say. Maybe you don't like either of them, and that's okay too. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. But if you would rather hear more philosophical conversations, let me know, because I'm again, that's the show's Adam Answers Anything. Well, Adam Answers, yeah. So just let me know. But this is kind of where we're at for now. It's kind of something that's been on my mind for a while. And without further ado, I'm going to share the topic for tonight, which is the truth about content creation. So the way I was originally going to phrase this was I was going to phrase it as a question, since, I mean, every episode is supposed to be a question, like Adam Answers a question. So originally it was going to be, is YouTube broken? And I like debated it. I was like, man, like that's kind of a catchy question. Like, is YouTube broken? But I also like didn't want the YouTube big brother in the sky to be like, like nerf his video. So I didn't use that question. I just put the title, The Truth About Content Creation. So it's not specifically or really a question, but it kind of is at the same time. It's more of like a question of, what is it like to actually try and be a content creator in 2025? That's the extended question for us today. I'm just gonna make sure I shut off the music, because I always forget that. Yes, I have shut it off. Okay. So what do I mean by content creation? It's a really, really good question. YouTube is an excellent example of content creation. If you're on Instagram, that's another form. Social media in general, like short form content, is kind of another example too. Content creation, I mean, could really be anything anything that would be consumed on online or on your smartphone, right? Like any type of content. So short form ads, long form TikTok, like I said, Instagram, even like Twitter. Like if you're on Twitter, you're just crafting posts. Well, that's content creation. But I think that our question, or kind of our conversation tonight, really revolves around specifically YouTube-esque content creation. I'll be mostly talking about YouTube, because I'm primarily on YouTube, even though I know that this is live on X as well as Facebook. But I'm primarily going to be talking about YouTube, just talking about the creator culture, the content creation industry, people that make content for other people to consume, for the masses to consume. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. The the topic is primarily going to be divided between what was it like 10 to 15 years ago, and what is it like today, and what are the challenges that we face today that we didn't face like 10, 15 years ago. Now, although I wasn't a content creator 10 to 15 years ago, I was trying to start a YouTube channel 10 to 15 years ago. Uh, let's see, 10 years ago, I'm in 2015, right? around that time, I remember trying to start a YouTube channel, and I had a couple of videos in mind that I was going to do. And I had put together these like really 2 to 3 minute videos that I was going to post on my channel. But my ideation just died out. And that happened 6 or 7 times throughout the course of, I'd say, like 15-year span. Like when I graduated high school and I ended up in college, that's when I first started thinking like I'd love to make content. Like I'd love to make fun, interesting videos. And so from that point until 2023, I tried to start a YouTube channel over and over again, but unsuccessfully. And so I don't really have a perspective on the inside of what content creation was like 10 to 15 years ago. But I think that we all have a general sense of what it was like. It's like if you were alive consuming content, watching YouTube, watching videos, then you knew what it was like. You knew what it was like to get on Facebook or get on YouTube and bam, right there, see like just a handful of your favorite content, your favorite videos. Like here's a creator that I follow, and I watch like every video that they make. Tim Scott was one of them. He did it for like 10 years, and make a video. I'd watch his video, and there it was right in my feed. See, the thing was, is like 10, 15 years ago, being a content creator, it was a pretty steep market. Like there was a ton of people in the market trying to be content creators. There was, but the probability, like if you had good ideas and the ability to make movies or to make films and videos and to edit them and to publish them like consistent, like once a week, once every other week, maybe even once a month, the odds of you being successful were pretty decent. Like if as long as you were consistent. That's the thing. As long as you were consistent. And so that's how you got I mean that's how you got people like Jamie Donaldson when he was just a wee little child clapping for, I don't remember what the video was, but he was like clapping for a certain number of hours. I don't remember. That's why you get videos like that actually being successful, because it was novel. And that was the beautiful thing about the 2010s, especially the early to mid 2010s. That was the beautiful thing, is there was so much novelty to discover and to explore. Someone making a video about creating a labyrinth of traps for squirrels. I'm talking about Mark Rober. That's, at the time, that was such a novel thing. Like being an engineer and like creating these like ingenious, cool little tricks and devices, like that package thief bomb that he makes. I forgot what he called it. That was a novel thing back then. I mean, it was even in the 2000s, it was a novel thing for someone with a cheap Sony camcorder to make clay, little blue guys out of clay, and to make a like rudimentary stop motion video about clay people interacting with each other. I mean, and it went big and it was successful because it was so novel, because it was such a new and adventurous thing to have an entire storyline just in this little niched area of the internet. Like it was a novel thing that you could watch something like Marbled Hornets, and you could watch an entire story arc episode by episode published on YouTube of all places. And you didn't need a subscription to Netflix, and you didn't need to go to the movie theaters. Like you didn't need any of those things. It's just right there in this little website called YouTube. And it was such an incredibly beautiful and novel thing. And I think novelty is what made YouTube such a beautiful thing 10 to 15 years ago. Because if you thought of something just so bizarre, like I'm going to go test all of the 1-star rated restaurants in every state in the country. That's a novel, like so random. That's a novel thing. Not random today. not by a long shot. But then, oh my goodness, very novel. I know I've said that word 1,000 times. I promise I'll stop saying it at some point. So, what makes it so different from today? Like, why is the challenge more difficult today than it was, you know, 10, 15 years ago? And to be fair, like, it was difficult 10, 15 years ago. But is it the same today? My answer would be vehemently no. It is exponentially more difficult to be a content creator today. And when I say be a content creator, what I'm trying to say is have some modicum of success. And what do I mean by success? I mean, if you're on YouTube, let's say that your metric for saying like, okay, I successfully did this thing was being a monetized YouTube channel, right? You've reached that second tier of partnered YouTube relationship, and so you've reached all their requirements. Let's just say that's kind of like a modicum of success. And each platform kind of has their own metrics for when they recognize you or recognize your content. Each one has their difference. So that's what I would say by success. But 10, 15 years ago, I mean, if you I would argue that if you're a very small YouTube channel today, like let's say you have like 10,000 subscribers or like 4,000 like I do. I would argue that 10, 15 years ago, the number would probably be tripled. And I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that for any channel, right? Because there are channels that only have a couple hundred subscribers that are amazing channels. I have met so many people on the like small YouTube channel Reddit subreddit. I've met so many people that I'm like, they got 300 subscribers. Man, they should have like 300,000. 100%. 10, 15 years ago, they would have had 300,000 subscribers. Today, they have 300. Why? What's the difference? Well, the first obvious difference I would say is that things aren't novel like they used to be because it's been done before. I mean, I guess you could say that it's because the market's so saturated now. I mean, it was saturated before, but if you thought it was saturated before, ooh, my goodness, it is saturated today. Competition changes accessibility to interesting and unique things. So if I get on here and turn on my webcam and I'm just going to make a YouTube video about, I'm going to say the word pickle for 12 hours. I could do that. It might get some views, but it's not going to get Jimmy Donaldson views. It's not going to get Mr. Beast views when he was a little kid. It's just not, because it's not novel anymore. Think of just as strange of a video idea as you possibly can. Like, I put myself in a giant Zorb orb ball, inflated it, and spent the day inside of it. It's probably been done. Go ahead and YouTube it right now. Maybe it hasn't. If it hasn't, let me know. But what I'm trying to say is videos like that have been done and done and done over and over. That's why you have so many channels that are kind of cop off channels. Like, here's a test. If you have a YouTube channel, or sorry, if you have like a extra YouTube channel, maybe you have like 2 YouTube channels or something, not YouTube channels, Google accounts, and you have one Google account that you watch your like regular YouTube on. But if you have another one and you don't care about like the recommended feed, go over to it and um, look up Ryan Trahan and watch his videos. Doesn't matter which ones you watch, just like watch his videos. If you don't really want to watch them, just let them run. After you do, it's going to change your algorithm because the algorithm is going to think, oh, you want more videos like this. And when it gives you videos like that, you'll see very quickly that it's content creator after content creator after content creator after content creator, all doing like pretty much Ryan Trahan template copy and paste. Right? It's like if Ryan Trahan does I tried 1-star restaurants, then some other guy does I tried 1-star fast food restaurants. It's that similar. I mean, it is so, and it's just copy and paste. And usually it's just like a recommended feed with just like a whole bunch of content creators that all look the same. All the all the thumbnails look the same. All the videos are the same, same type of content. Things aren't novel like they used to be because the competition is so much more fierce, because the market is so much more saturated, because accessibility to new and unique things is just exponentially lower than what it was. But that's not it. That's not just it. I mean, because you could do a topic that's been done before and it's successful. Of course. If you do it in a way that's like your personality, that's what's your niche. Like, that's one of the best things about your niche is you are your own niche. Even if you're like in a video game niche, let's say, for example, your personality is still a part of that niche. So you could be playing a video game that's been played hundreds of times on YouTube already, but your personality might shine. People like, you know, might think, oh, I really want to watch this guy for his personality, even though I've already seen this video game. What's another reason? What's another reason or effect, I should say, of market saturation? Well, I'd say it's analysis paralysis. I think this is a really big one. So let me just real quick, I'm actually going to pull up I'm just going to pull up YouTube. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, I am going to share my screen. Okay, let's do this. Here it is. This is my YouTube channel, so don't look too much at what I follow. But as you can see, like, if you've scrolled on a YouTube like home feed in any measure, in any way, it's video after video after video. And theoretically, you can just sit here scrolling and it will never, never end. I mean, that's kind of the idea of doom scrolling, is I could just sit here and hold this down button and videos will not stop showing up. Like, videos won't stop being recommended. They won't stop popping up in my feed, no matter how much that I scroll down. And the thing is when I'm looking through videos and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find a video that I'm like interested in watching, because maybe I'm just gonna like eat lunch for like 12 minutes or something like that. Well, there's, this video looks good, or that video looks interesting because it's got a cliffhanger title, or oh, like this cool update, because I use this software, or here's another cool thing about AI or disturbing videos. So like, oh, that might be interesting. What kind of videos does he have? There's so many different kinds of videos that I can choose from. But the problem is that I get inundated with so many choices that I don't know which choice to make. I don't know if I should choose this video or if I should choose that video. And I end up not making a choice at all. There's so many choices of videos to watch. This has probably happened to you before, where you've been sitting down, maybe you sit down with friends, or you sit down with your girlfriend or wife or husband or whatever, and you sit down and you're like, oh, let's watch a video. Half an hour later, you're still searching for your video. Why? Because there's so many videos to choose from that you can't find one that satisfies, like, oh, this is a perfect video. Like, we have to watch this video, or we have to watch this movie. It's called analysis paralysis. In a 2000 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, researchers wanted to see how the volume of choice impacted consumer behavior. And the researchers simulated two experiences. In the first experience, the researchers set up a product display. So if you think like Costco product display of various jams, and they're in a grocery store. One of them had only 6 flavors of jam to choose from. This is what they called the limited array. In the second one, the researchers set up a product display of 24 flavors to choose from. This is what they called the extensive array. Now, they examined how the number of jam options influenced consumer behavior by measuring how many people stopped at the display table to sample the jams and how many people ultimately made a purchase in each condition. They discovered that although more shoppers were drawn to the display with 24 jams, so in other words, if they had to choose between which one they wanted to go visit with, they would go visit the one with 24 options. Those presented with fewer choices were significantly more likely to buy something. So, in other words, the people that went to this display that had 6 flavors of jam were more likely to buy a jam than people that went to the display with 24 flavors of jam. They concluded that while a wide range of options may initially capture attention, too many choices can overwhelm consumers, ultimately resulting in no decision being made. That is a very important point. Now, notice that they say that a wide range of options may initially capture attention. If you've been a content creator by any degree and for any amount of time, you know that attention is the currency of content creation. What we're trying to get, what we want consumers to give us, they're not giving us their money. They're not giving us their money. They're giving us their attention. And so as a market becomes more saturated, as there's significantly more competition, all that matters is your attention. See, before, attention still mattered before. Attention definitely mattered 10 to 15 years ago. But 10 to 15 years ago, there was so much attention to go around, to be had, that it was still possible to not even really think about attention and to just make novel, interesting, fun videos or educational videos, whichever kind of videos you were making. It was still possible to do that and get attention. But as the industry has become more and more and more saturated, we're talking exponentially saturated over the past 10 to 15 years. Creating novel, fun, interesting videos doesn't mean that you're going to get the attention that you need as a content creator, which is the currency that you need to be successful. So what happens? Content creators focus only on getting attention and less on creating actual content. If you know, you know. If you've been on TikTok, you know. If you've been on any platform and seen a lot of, right, we call it brain rot, we call it slop. There's so many terms, cultural buzzwords that we use today to talk about these kinds of things. But we could talk about the significant drop in quality in content creation over the past 10, 15 years as a result of the psychology of attention being more urgent and important for being a successful content creator. Social psychologist Barry Schwartz, you may have heard of him before, he defines this as analysis paralysis in his book, The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less. Schwartz writes this: as the number of available choices increases, as it has in our consumer culture, the autonomy, control, and liberation this variety brings are powerful and positive. But as the number of choices keeps growing, negative aspects of having a multitude of options begin to appear. So the negative aspects of having a lot of choices begin to appear. He says the number of choices grows further. He says as the number of choices grows further, the negatives escalate until we become overloaded. At this point, choice no longer liberates, but debilitates. It might even be said to be tyrannical. Schwartz would agree, or he would argue, that having too many decisions not only makes it too difficult to make a decision, but it can also lead us to feel overwhelmed. And it can also overcomplicate the decision itself. And it puts us in a position to make a poor decision or even have regret over our decisions, regardless of what decision we make. The consequences of this are dire. Schwartz says ultimate choice, I believe, can produce genuine suffering. When the results of decisions about trivial things or important ones, about items of consumption or about jobs and relationships are disappointing, we ask why. And when we ask why, the answers we come up with frequently have us blaming ourselves. What does he mean by that? He means this. When you're given such a vast array of choices, you saw that YouTube feed. It was just video after video after video after video, and I could scroll infinitely and continue to find new videos to watch. When you're given such a vast amount of choices, there is a subconscious expectation that you have to find the perfect one, because time is a valuable asset. Time is significantly more important than any commodity in your life. And what you spend your time on is valuable. And if you're going to spend your time on watching a YouTube video, well, then it needs to be the best one that's currently available to you. But the problem is there's so many choices that no matter what video you're going to make, there's always this thought in the back of your mind that maybe there was something better that I could have watched or that I could have spent my time on. So what happens is a lot of us will feel regret about the decision that we made. Like, it was an okay video. Well, we'll judge videos not based on the content of the quality of their content alone, but will indirectly, unknowingly, and subconsciously judge videos based on whether or not we felt like it was a good use of our time compared to the other videos that were available to us. And it doesn't matter what video you choose. The fact that there's an infinite number of choices to make means that you're always going to have some small doubt in the back of your mind that, like, maybe that wasn't the best use of my time. Or another thing that happens is you just keep watching videos, and you watch enough videos to feel like you watched something good. That's what happens when you can start on a YouTube video about a guy like making orange juice from fresh oranges, and then the next thing you know, you're like watching videos about buses being driven off ramps into an ocean for some reason. Like, you can just end up in the wildest rabbit trails because you get so distracted and inundated with watching video after video after video, because your mind is consuming the content because it has to make the best use of the time and the content that's available to it. Analysis paralysis. So that's another consequence of an oversaturated market. What's another one of the difficulties about today than compared to 10 to 15 years ago? Attention spans. I think this is one that we're probably all familiar with and well aware of now. There was a podcast episode. There's an APA podcast speaking of psychology, and there was a psychologist, Gloria Mark, who was in one of the episodes, and she was talking about attention spans. And she discussed how people's inability to focus had declined dramatically in the digital age. Her research showed that the average time individuals stayed focused on one screen or task had dropped from 2.5 minutes, so 2.5 minutes in 2004, 2.5 minutes in 2004, to under a minute in recent years. More specifically, in 2004, it was 2.5 minutes. In 2012, it was 1.75 minutes. And today, it's 0.75 minutes. So around 45 seconds. That's an average of around 40 to 47 seconds. This constant task switching and multitasking driven by smartphones, notifications, and digital distractions, it has led to higher stress levels. It leads to more mistakes in your job or your schooling, as we're constantly being divided between multiple things. And it reduces our productivity. Gloria Marx emphasized that attention was not a single process. It varied between deep focused attention, which is when you have high engagement and it's something that's very challenging. So it's high engagement, high challenge, and rote activity, which she calls rote activity, which is high engagement, but low to no challenge at all, which is what doom scrolling is. Just kind of sitting there, not really thinking critically, not really using much energy, but focused, but it's just kind of easy content. She noted that attentions followed daily rhythms, with peak focuses being in the late morning and the mid-afternoon. Attention spans. Is this an irrevocable thing? Like, is this something that can't be fixed? I don't think so, but I also don't ultimately know. I hope that it is, but I think that it's created a difficulty for especially content creators that are really, really trying to create long form content, because long form, long form content isn't going away, but it's not, but it's consumed far less than short form content, right? Because if you make a video, 30-second video, short form content, publish it, it'll get like very quickly 1,000 views, very quickly, compared to a long form video that'll get like maybe 20 views in its entire lifetime. Well, it's because people are consuming, not that they're necessarily consuming no long form content, but they're consuming significantly more short form content. As attention spans grow smaller, we crave immediate engagement, immediate attention, immediate engagement with a video that will catch our attention for the extremely short window that we can give it our attention. And after that window's over, we immediately use our finger to scroll to the next one. And that's created a difficult space, especially for content creators that want to create longer videos. And those longer videos, like the TV, is the number one platform for consuming long YouTube format videos. It's no longer the computer. Like, people don't sit at their laptops or desktop computer anymore, really, consuming long form YouTube videos. I mean, obviously they still do, but like the amount of people that watch it on their smart TVs has significantly grown, because long videos are the sorts of things that people sit down for, like at the end of the day or at the end of the night, and consume. It's throughout the day that they're just consuming short form content. Another interesting point about what makes it more difficult today is information access and public trust. So what do I mean by that? As access to information becomes easier and easier, certain niches become sort of less and less valuable, at least in the eyes of culture. When any and all information can be accessed in a matter of seconds, anyone can be an expert on anything at any time for any reason. You know, back, especially like in the 90s and in the early 2000s, if I went to I would have to go to a library, look on a catalog for all the books that they had about Rene Descartes, and check out all of those books and do my due diligence to like read the sections of books that talk about Descartes, read a couple of his books that he's written and translated into English, like do my due diligence, invest hours, days, years of my life to studying and reading about Descartes. And when I did that and people saw that I did that, they would think, well, this guy's an expert on Descartes. So what he said, like what he has to say about Descartes, I'm probably going to listen to. Today, there's still those people, which are very valuable people, and I think we need to value them more than we currently are. They're very valuable people. But today, I could go up to Joe Schmo on the street. Sorry if your name's actually Joe. It's just go up to Joe Schmo on the street and be like, hey, can you tell me, what Cartesian dualism is? He can just whip out his phone, pull up ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever it is, ask it a question, and bam, he's got an answer for you. He can answer pretty much every single question that guy who had studied for years could answer. He can answer it. And in many cases, probably faster. I mean, if you walked up to the guy who studied Descartes for years, just walked up to him on the street and asked him a question, he could probably answer the question, but it might take him a while because he has to access his memory to actually answer the question. Information access. The idea of someone of being an authority on a subject has eroded over the past 10, I'd say longer than 10, maybe past 20 years. It is eroded. Pouring years into studying Descartes or Pascal doesn't mean that people will listen to you when you have something to say about him anymore. I mean, you could make a YouTube channel saying I'm an expert archaeologist, or I'm an expert, historian, and want to make a history niche channel, archaeology channel. But it doesn't mean people will listen to you just because you've poured years and years of experience into what you've done. Because there's nothing There's nothing novel, unique about someone who knows a great deal about a thing anymore, when anyone can know a great deal about anything at any moment for any reason. That's why suddenly you have a lot of experts letting you know that they're an expert on a topic by giving you their very strong dogmatic opinion. If you spend any time on social media, you'll find out very quickly that everyone, for some reason, especially in the comment section, everyone's an expert on something. Another part of this is public trust. So we have information access and public trust. So it's while not a direct result of the pandemic, it certainly exacerbated the public's failing trust in institutions. I mean, I would say 10, 15 years ago, like when everyone thought about the CDC, they'd think, "Oh yeah, it's the CDC, right? Like they're the professional organization. Like they got it together." You know, when something hits the fan and it's, some biological warfare, the CDC, like they know what they're going to be doing. They're going to be the ones that are going to rescue us, have quarantine zones, they're going to have everything running smoothly, and they're going to find a cure for it and like, cure everyone. That's why a zombie apocalypse is never going to happen, right? CDC is like, that's where all the knowledge on diseases are in the United States. I I don't think that's the public sentiment these days. There's still people that trust it, but I think there's a lot of people that don't anymore for a lot of reasons that they have. I think that same story kind of applies to media, government, educational institutions, as we have become significantly divided culturally and ideologically. We're divided ideologically over anything. And if you want more about that topic, I did do a live stream about mainstream culture. Is mainstream culture dead? I would encourage you to go listen to that, because in that I actually do talk a bit more about cultural divide. But as we've become more divided, so has our trust. And how does that affect content creation? Well, it means that, like, if I want to make a video about any sort of history, let's like I want to make a video about the history of Thanksgiving, or the history of the Civil War, or the history of um, the Industrial Revolution, or the history of Enlightenment, right? There's so much less public trust and people that have given so much time into studying things now, that you'll have a lot of people coming on your channel just to give their alternate opinion, or just to give their perspective on how horrible they think your videos are. And sure, I mean that happened in 10 to 15 years ago, but I'd say it happens a lot more today than it did then. So, with all of that said, and I know that was a lot. There, I know that have given you a lot of reasons not to be a content creator. I know that I've given you a lot of reasons to be like, everything seems really dark and eerie, and like it's just been really pessimistic so far. Should you be a content creator in 2025? Let's say that that's a question that you're currently wrestling with. Well, here's what I'll say. If you want to be a content creator solely for the purpose of, I just want to make videos that I enjoy making, that I love making, and I don't care who watches them, I don't care how many people watch them, I don't care about monetization, I don't care about having engagement, do it. Do it. 100%. Why? Because when I started making YouTube videos, and I still have this experience, I had so much joy in being able to hit the play button when I'm reviewing my video before I publish it, and watching this 20-minute, 15 to 20-minute thing that I made, and I wrote the script, and I did the filming, and I did the editing, and I made this thing, and I'm like, wow, I took what was in my brain and I just made it into a reality. That is a cool experience. That's why content creation and artists and all the like filmmakers, that's why they are so passionate about their jobs, because it is a cool experience and a really incredible feeling when something that's it just in your head that exists as like this abstract thought becomes a reality, that is such a fun thing to do. And so if you just have a desire to just make content regardless of who watches it, I would say just if anything, just do it for yourself and do it for those one or two people that are probably going to watch your videos because, you know, if you publish long enough, there are going to be people who are eventually going to find your channel. I'd say that. Now, if you want to do it to make money, I would strongly encourage you to reconsider. Not because I don't think not because well I didn't make it, so you're obviously not going to make it. No. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if you're like thinking to yourself, I want side income, I want some I just want some alternative revenue streams in my life. I'd say maybe find some easier revenue streams. If you were going to say, well, I want to be a full-time YouTuber, I would say, whoa, stop. Let's just calm down for a minute. Let's look at other let's look at other ways to use your energy. Let's do that. And then we can talk about that. Because if you are throwing everything you have at being a content creator in the hopes that it's going to be successful, I think you're doing something very dangerous. Most people, okay, I'll say this. This is a statistic, so don't quote me verbatim because I don't remember it specifically off the top of my head, but I remember reading it somewhere. Recently, I read that there is actually a statistic that says that it does require money to actually be successful. Like billionaires are billionaires because they had money to begin with that allowed them to become billionaires. Like people who are billionaires have money which allows them to take risks. They can take more risks because if that risk fails, they're not financially like devastated. They have enough money that keep them afloat so they can just try the next thing. Most people like in this world don't have that option. And I'm going to venture to say that you probably don't either. If you do, if you happen to just have like millions sitting in a bank somewhere, go for it. Try and fail as much as you want. I like go for it. You have the privilege and the luxury and the opportunity. Go for it. Use that opportunity. But if you don't, then I would encourage you to reconsider your strong desire to be a full-time YouTuber. And at the very least, have something else in place as a career that is sufficient for your needs growing up, like as you get older, right? As you get older and, maybe like buy a car, you have your own place or whatever, have something that could suffice as a career, whatever that might look like, something that can sustain you, that's sufficient enough. And then, as you're working in that career, as you're working in that job, then strategize. Think, okay, well, like I would like to be a full-time YouTuber someday. So how would I approach it? And those would be my recommendations for like, should you attempt to be a content creator? Because it's very hard and it's very emotional too. Like it is a very difficult experience to go through, no matter how much you prepare yourself for it. It is a very difficult experience to go through putting together this video that you spent hours on. You spent days writing it. You spent days filming it. You spent weeks editing it. It took you an entire 2 days just to get the music tracks that you wanted, the perfect color grading, the perfect transitions, motion graphics, everything. And you hit the render button, you got this thing all polished, looking nice, and you were so proud of your work. You're like, wow, this is like one of the best things I've ever made. I'm like, I really love this. And you publish it, and it just flops like a just dead inflatable, just pops, and it just deflates. That is soul crushing, very soul crushing. And when that happens, which is like guaranteed to happen, that's when you realize very quickly the what really works on YouTube. And if you want to be successful on YouTube, your mission, like your goal should not be how can I create the best content? It should be how can I get the most attention? And that's why I would say, and sure, I think there's plenty of incredible reasons to argue for or against this statement. I don't know if YouTube is for content creators anymore. I don't know if social media is for content creators anymore. It used to be. It used to be for people that were artists who had no way to express their voice, who had no way to create art, and so they found this platform that was free, and they thought, well, I'll do stuff on there, and that's what they did. And you could be artistic and expressive on YouTube and on social media platforms and be successful and have a following, and like people actually wanted to like see what you had to say. But now there's 3 million of you doing all the same thing. Billions of YouTube channels, billions of podcasts. So many of them saying the same thing, doing the same thing, that it's not about creating art anymore. It's just about the science of engagement. So you know who should be a YouTuber? Psychologists, social psychologists. That's who should be YouTubers. Because all you need to do is just pour yourself into the science and the psychology of attention, and that's what you need to be successful. But like I said, if you're someone that just loves creating art, if you're just someone that has something to say and you want to say it, regardless of who listens to it, do it. Because it's such a beautiful thing, and I'm telling you, it's the only reason I still make videos. I went through depression for like 4 or 5 months. And when I came out of that depression, I'd finally accepted that like my channel's probably never going to be it's never going to be where I want it to be. I mean, like just success wise. But I continued to make videos, and I do continue to make videos. Why? Because I still love making videos. I just needed to first accept that it was never going to be a place where I could have an alternative revenue stream for me and my family. That's just not going to happen. And I've accepted that, and that's totally okay. Because I don't make the videos for that reason anymore. I make the videos because I love this live stream. I love crafting content. I love conversations. I love thinking deeply. I love having these kinds of conversations. Even though I'm talking to myself right now and I'm holding a comb for some reason, I don't know. Even though I'm doing this, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it. And I'm going to do it because I love it. Not because I think that someday it's going to get thousands or millions of views, that I'm going to become partnered with YouTube and I'm going to be monetized. I'm going to start making, some extra money for my family. That's not going to happen. And that's okay. Because I know that the Lord provides everything that we need every single day. He always has and always will, even though both my wife and I were constantly expressing like, man, like we do not deserve the blessings that we've been given, but we have just been blessed so lavishly, and we feel so humbled by the blessings that he's given to us. And it reminds us every day that he is going to provide. He's not just going to give you like here's the bare minimum. He's going to give you abundantly what you need. And not just things too, but joy and satisfaction, love, all the things that your heart and soul need and desire, he will supply. None of those things YouTube and content creation can give you. None of those things. Doesn't matter how large your audience is. You could have a larger following than Mr. Beast himself. And it will not give you the things that only satisfaction and trust in God will give you. So I'm sorry for how depressing this one kind of was. I kind of feel like I was like Should you be a content creator? No. And let me just spend an entire hour of telling you why it's a terrible idea and everything's just dark and everything's broken and everyone hates each other and you should just never do it because it's a waste of your time. Huh. So I kind of feel like I just did that, so I apologize. I didn't mean for it to come off that way. I'm genuinely trying to share, like, here's been my experience. Um and that's honestly is kind of the larger portion of my experience. I there are a lot of positive things to say about content creation. You know, like, you do tend to meet people that you never would have met otherwise. You have conversations that you never would have had otherwise. And again, you get to make a thing and put it out in the world. And that's like, that can be a scary thing. Like, wow, here's this like extremely private thing that I put together, and this is like a piece of me, not just a video, it's a piece of me, and I'm putting it out there in the world. That is a scary thing. But it's also such a beautiful thing and a healthy thing. So if you're trying to be a content creator, if you're on YouTube trying to be a YouTuber, keep going at it. And I genuinely hope and pray and that you'll have the best opportunities and that your videos are going to be successful. Absolutely, I hope and pray that. And I hope that you enjoy the journey. You know, when I was dating my wife now, like when I was dating her, we had just gotten engaged. I had just gotten engaged to her. I had so much anxiety. And the reason I had so much anxiety was because I had been rejected like a lot in my life. And so when my subconscious was realizing that, oh wow, like, we're engaged, like we've crossed a threshold that we've never crossed before in our lives, it was so terrified because it still couldn't accept the fact that like she was actually going to marry me, because it didn't know. I just like didn't I couldn't comprehend that like she actually loved me. I was just so used to like, you know, everyone leaving. And so I was so nervous and I was so anxious. And I remember talking to my best friend, his name's Takaya, and I was talking to him on the phone. He said, Adam, enjoy the blessing. He said, you could worry and fret all you want right now. And I get it. Like, I get why you're worrying and fretting, but like, this season's going to be over in the blink of an eye. And you can spend it enjoying it, regardless of the fear that you have, or you could spend it being anxious about it and then regretting it for the rest of your life. Enjoy the blessings that you have. When a good thing's given to you, enjoy it. When you've made a video that you're proud of, enjoy it. When someone leaves a comment that brings a smile to your face, enjoy it. Take a moment every time there's something that good that happens on your content creation journey. Take a moment, stop, and enjoy it. And be thankful for that. So I've talked a little bit longer than I thought I was going to. But again, if you've listened to this far, wow. I am impressed, first of all. And second of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And hope everyone has an amazing, wonderful weekend. And I just want everyone to know that I love all you guys. I love all of you. I say you guys because I'm from the Midwest, by the way. So I could say I love y'all. I love y'all. I'm not Southern, so I'm not going to say that, even though I was born in Mississippi. Okay, I'm rambling now. You guys have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching and listening.